The Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, through our agency, continues to undertake studies and research to encourage and improve sustainable development of marine fisheries sector from the perspective of environment and economy. In 2017, our agency and the Korea Maritime Ocean University Consortium have jointly conducting feasibility studies to develop marine and fisheries recommendation as an economically viable, environmentally friendly solution to abandon offshore oil and gas platform in Indonesian waters. Some recommendations have already been prepared, such as all the oil rigs will be transformed to be as a reef, coral reef plantation, and secondly, to be as a aquaculture installation for the marine purposes. Our seminar today aims to disseminate information and raise public awareness on the result of this collaborative project, as well as to encourage to have a constructive discussion with speakers from Indonesia and Korea. In this opportunity, His Excellency Minister for Marine Affairs and Fisheries, Mr. Edi Prabowo, would like to deliver a keynote speech, but before that, I would like to show up a video illustrating a glimpse of the topics of today's seminar. Thank you.
Saat ini, ada sekitar 600 anjungan lepas pantai di perairan Indonesia. 70% diantaranya sudah berumur lebih dari 20 tahun dan memasuki masa pasca produksi. Sesuai peraturan, anjungan ini wajib dibongkar untuk dikembalikan ke kondisi semula. Namun demikian, proses pembongkaran ini terkendala oleh faktor biaya dan kompleksitas birokrasi. Salah satu alternatif pembongkaran anjungan dengan memanfaatkan anjungan untuk kegiatan kelautan dan perikanan dengan metode rig to reef dan rig to fish farm. Berdasarkan studi, beberapa negara yang melaksanakan R2R sudah merasakan manfaat di mana ekosistem di sekitar anjungan tetap tumbuh dan terjaga. Sejak 2013, KKP dan KMOUC telah melakukan studi di platform Ataka dan Yakin, Kalimantan Timur, dan di ONWJ Jawa Barat yang meliputi bidang sosial, ekonomi, ekosistem, dan teknis. Kegiatan R2R memiliki 3 metode pelaksanaan, full toppled in situ, cut and toppled in situ, dan reefing ex situ. Untuk full toppled in situ dibagi menjadi 2 tahap. Pertama, bagian dek dipotong dan diangkut ke darat atau dipakai kembali di lokasi lain. Kedua, bagian jaket dipotong dan ditempatkan di dasar laut di sekitar anjungan dan dipantau perkembangan reef yang sudah ada. Sedangkan untuk metode cut and toppled in situ, langkah yang dilakukan hampir sama, namun pada bagian jaket dipotong menjadi beberapa bagian sesuai dengan desain reef yang ingin dibangun. Untuk reefing ex situ, jaket yang sudah dipotong akan dipindahkan oleh barge kapal angkut ke lokasi reef yang lain. Lokasi reefing ditentukan oleh beberapa faktor, seperti kejernihan air, arus laut yang membawa nutrien, makanan bagi terumbu karang, salinitas, dan suhu. Selain dapat memberikan manfaat ekologis bagi laut dan pertumbuhan ikan, terumbu karang juga bermanfaat bagi masyarakat pesisir. Hal ini disebabkan 1. Ekosistem terumbu karang sebagai tempat persediaan makanan, penelitian, dan obat-obatan. 2. Peningkatan jumlah biota laut dengan nilai ekonomi tinggi. 3. Konversi R2R akan mengurangi biaya pembongkaran. 4. Sebagai pelindung habitat dari penangkapan ikan yang merusak. 5. Dan daya tarik pariwisata dengan potensi devisa. Selain R2R, anjungan pasca produksi dapat dimanfaatkan untuk budidaya perikanan atau R2F. Di Indonesia, KJA pertama digunakan di Danau Mundung, Jambi tahun 1922. Sedangkan keramba terbenam telah dilakukan di sungai-sungai Jawa pada 1940 untuk budidaya gurame. KJA Offshore pertama berlokasi di pantai Pangandaran Barat dan Sabang Aceh yang berjarak 4 mil dari pesisir yang diaplikasikan pada kedalaman 50 meter dan tinggi gelombang 1,5 hingga 3 meter. Metode R2F menggunakan anjungan berdiri sebagai jangkar bagi keramba, jaring apung atau fish cage yang bersifat sementara yang dilakukan sebelum pemotongan. Ada dua metode penggunaan R2F. Pertama, metode jaring floating di permukaan air. Dan kedua, metode submerge dengan keramba bawah air. Penggunaan dua metode ini ditentukan oleh spesies yang akan dikembangkan serta kondisi ekosistem yang ada. Keunggulan metode R2F ialah 1. Kualitas dan mutu rasa ikan yang lebih baik karena dipelihara di dalam lingkungan gelombang dan kualitas air arus laut alami. 2. Pengurangan resiko eutrofikasi dan pencemaran limbah pakan dan kotoran. 3. Ikan juga terlindungi dari predator dan persaingan antar spesies. Untuk itu, agar pemanfaatan anjungan lepas pantai lebih efektif, maka diperlukan 1. Dibuatnya aturan pendukung, master plan, dan SOP R2R, R2F. 2. Peningkatan sosialisasi manfaat R2R dan R2F ke stakeholder terkait.
Demikian video perkenalan program anjungan dan R2F. Terima kasih pada Kepala Badan atas informasinya. Selanjutnya, mohon perkenan Bapak Menteri Kelautan dan Perikanan untuk menyampaikan Keynote Speech seminar hari ini.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and best wishes to all of us. The Honorable Professor Jin Seok-oh and colleagues from the Korea Maritime and Ocean University Consortium, Mr. Purbaya Yudi Sadewa of the Coordinating Minister for Maritime and Investment Affairs, Mr. Julius Wiratno of the Special Task Force for Upstream Oil and Gas Business Activities, my esteemed colleagues, Mr. Sarip Wijaya, Chairman of Agency for Maritime and Fishery Research and Human Resource, and other colleagues of the Minister of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, distinguished speakers, guests, and participants in Indonesia and overseas. First of all, I would like to thank the Almighty God for the blessing and good health so that we remain active and able to work despite this trying time caused by the COVID-19 situation. Today, I am delighted to be surrounded by a collection of excellent experts, researchers, and talent in marine and fisheries field, and it is a pleasure to welcome you all in this virtual seminar on marine and fisheries role in energy sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, marine and fishery is interconnected to energy sector. There are about 600 oil and gas offshore platforms standing above Indonesian waters. Of that number, some 100 platforms are no longer active and need to be removed immediately as they pose environmental and navigation hazard. However, decommissioning offshore platform bears its own technical and financial challenge. On the other hand, Indonesia tropical water are ideal ecosystem for coral development and hold potential for offshore marine aquaculture. This condition offers a real opportunity for us to formulate alternative for platform decommissioning, a practical solution that is economically viable and environmentally sustainable. Indonesia government seeks to boost the economic of coastal communities and fishermen, and at the same time maintaining and caring for the health of marine environment. In the period of 2017 to 2019, Marine Research Center of the Minister of Marine Affairs and Fisheries have collaborated with the Korean Maritime and Ocean University Consortium to conduct research and study on the reutilization of abandoned offshore platform for marine and fisheries sector. The collaboration has resulted in policy recommendation for the reutilization of platform, namely the use of abandoned platform for official reef, offshore aquaculture site, recreation site, renewable energy hub, cold storage, military base, or research station. Ladies and gentlemen, with the spirit to further our collaboration, in July 2019, Indonesia and Korea have decided to establish and operate the Korea-Indonesia Offshore Research Cooperation Center. The center aims to promote and strengthen cooperation in science and technology related to abandoned offshore platform, which will contribute to the conservation of the marine environment as well as the sustainable use of marine resources. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, I would like to congratulate BRSDM and Korea Maritime and Ocean University Consortium for the hard work as well as the excellent collaboration with other stakeholders, including the Coordinating Minister for Marine Affairs and Investment, SKK Migas, and other parties who have contributed in this project. I hope you find the seminar informative, and I wish that this would be a real step for us to expand our collaboration in improving the role of marine and fishery in the energy sectors for the welfare of our coastal community. Thank you.
Terima kasih Bapak Menteri. Bapak Ibu, selanjutnya acara akan dipandu oleh moderator yaitu Ibu Niken. Dan Bapak Menteri, Bapak Ibu sekalian, demikian acara pembukaan kegiatan pagi hari ini. Terima kasih atas kehadiran Bapak Menteri, Bapak Kepala Badan, dan Bapak Ibu sekalian. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Berta. Thank you, Mr. Minister of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, for the keynote speech. I believe we are very excited to participate in this seminar. Therefore, without any further talking, let me introduce you to Professor O, the Chairman of Korea Maritime Ocean University Consortium, KMOUC, and he will present about history of cooperation and development of offshore platform decommissioning between Korea and Indonesia. And the time is yours, Professor O, please. Professor, I think you have to unmute it first. Please, we cannot hear your voice, sorry. Okay, while we waiting for the technical issues from Professor O, maybe we can continue first to the next speech will be Bapak Julius Wiratno from SKK Migas, and he will talk about platform decommissioning status in Indonesia, opportunities and challenge. Bapak Julius Wiratno, and you may start the speech, please.
Baik, terima kasih Mbak Niken. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera buat kita semua. Saya Mr. Edi Prabowo, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Fisheries, and our colleague from Minister of Foreign Affairs and Fisheries, and you, my friend, colleague from South Korea, participating in this international seminar. I'm glad to be invited in this session. Thank you very much that SKK Migas gave an opportunity to share some information related to the platform decommissioning in Indonesia, the latest status, and give an update on where we are, and then about the challenge and opportunity related to this decommissioning platform in Indonesia. Thank you very much. I like to have run quick, given a limited time. It's scheduled for 5-10 minutes. I prepare some slides. When you can, you may go ahead with the first presentation first. All right. Next, please. Next, please. All right. This is general information about the oil and gas, upstream oil and gas in Indonesia, where we have a number of assets, either subsurface or surface asset, which is spread from west to eastern area in Indonesia. But the most important thing that I'm going to share related to this morning topic is about the platform, especially offshore platform, which is now will be decommissioned soon, as mentioned earlier by Minister in opening speech. That yes, we have 630 platform now in Indonesia. It's been installed, and some of them has been running very well, and some of them was already abandoned and then need to be decommissioned soon. Please let it move down, Bu Niken. Next, please. Yeah. Oh, this is number of. Yeah, this is talking about plug and abandon the status, but there's no correlation with today topic, this morning topic about that platform decommissioning. But there is a asset that we have need to be abandoned, and part of that whole decommissioning, what we call in Indonesia is ASR, abandon and site restoration. So decommissioning of the platform is part of that activity we so-called ASR, abandon and site restoration program. Please, next presentation, please. Next, please. Yeah. Okay. This is mostly that is very worthwhile information about the oil and gas production facility in Indonesia. We have a turbomachinery, rotary equipment, pipeline, vessel, and tanks, and the last one is about the platform. Now, one thing that I want to share with you all guys, attendees, participants in this seminar, well, about the platform. Now, sorry, it's moving. Back to the previous slide, please. Yeah. Previous slide, please. Sebelumnya, Pak. Yeah. Again, this is information about the platform, more than 600 platform, which is we call it aging facilities, because there's number of 160 platform were built up before year 1970. So it's been really old platform, and some of them has been not really in operation now, they abandoned, but not decommissioned yet. So ready to work together in this collaborative effort with our related team, related function, to work about the decommissioning this platform. And it's very important for us, as mentioned earlier by Minister, that will affect the navigation and other related safety issue that we need related to this platform. Next, please. Okay, this is information of location where all the platform are located, but mostly from that the number of more than 600 platform are populated in area of Java Sea, which is north of West Java Islands, and another that's about 300 more than 337 platform, and then highly populated also in east of Kalimantan Islands, which in right in Makassar Street, they are populated about 193 platforms. So this information quite important for us. From that number of 630 unit platform, now we have 102 platform which is really not operated. We have expanded also abandoned in old version or 6 platform already, and now we are operating about 522 platform at the moment. So again, this latest information that 102 platform need to be decommissioned soon. Okay, next please. And here is I want to share the information about the decommission platform, but this is not really decommission by design, but incident. We have experienced incident last year in West Java, the area working concession working area operated by the Pertamina Hulu Energy offshore Northwest Java, which is we have drilling activities, and then there is uncontrolled station, and then we got some incident at the platform, and we decided to cut decommission the platform, and it's been done very successfully in early this year, and now the platform is being refurbished and for further utilization. I think that's good. We have experience already, as mentioned on the previous slide. We have 6, and now plus 7 platform has been decommissioned, and then it's been done. It's been proved successfully and safely. But now the next topic that we are going to face in the next couple of years is about this utilization of the abandoned platform or decommissioned platform. Is going to be used as mentioned earlier, could be rig to reef or rig to fish farm. There's something that will be developed and expanded in the next future. Next, please. All right. Well, again, this is about the regulation and permit that related to the decommission platform in Indonesia. It's quite complicated. This is something to be the challenge. One of the challenge to us. That once we want to decommission the platform, we need to work together, cooperate with another function internally and a technical minister to really carry out this work. I just want to share that all this stuff, all the asset related to actually all the asset in upstream oil and gas in Indonesia actually belong the government and GQ as Ministry of Finance. So administratively, actually, we need to get approval from Minister of Finance to get write off this asset prior to be decommissioned. We, Skekemigas is doing some kind of review and evaluation about the subsurface, and then finally decided not economically to be further developed and then not to be further use this platform, and then we decided to hand it over and then to be decommissioned, be cut and decommissioned. But there's the next slide that I can share with you all that there is a challenge and opportunities later on in the last couple of slides. But again, this is the work program structure on decommissioning. We had a discussion with our colleague from UK last time about the cost component of that activity of decommissioning. Start from the early activities, and then about the cost, how much spent for that decommissioning platform. So the most costly for the activities about the well abandon, especially for the offshore, when offshore well, subsea well abandon is quite expensive because we want to mobilize the offshore fleet for sure to carry out this work. So 40%, more than 40% of the cost structure here is part of the well decommissioning. for that offshore or topside and structure is only for maybe less than 15% of that cost related to decommissioning. For overall, what we call overall of the decommissioning, start from well, topside facilities, and also site restoration. If there is especially an onshore activity, we have a site restoration also. Okay, this is kind of our work breakdown structure. Next, please, Ting. Well, again, this is how I want to share the challenge in platform decommissioning Indonesia. Again, method and technology is one of that, need to be considered in selection of technology, which is what's the most efficient, effective. I'm sure that our colleague from Poland and with a number of discussion with us that offer some good advanced technology which is really cost efficient, effective. So this is something that we want to address also in terms of related to the HSE aspect and issues. And the second challenge is actually about the cost. At the fund, we have a number of issues in Indonesia because from that 630 platform, actually that platform built up based on the old version of PSG productions and contract before 1994. They don't have any kind of fund reserved for that activity, commission activity. But in this platform after 1994, we have already some fund, part of that operating cost to be funded for preparation to conduct the decommissioning activities in future. So there is a part of challenge, and then the third challenge actually is yes, but the regulation to be a bit complicated. And then I'm glad if Minister of Marine Affairs and Fisheries and also with another technical and coordinating minister will work together. I'm sure we'll try to simplify bureaucracy and regulation. We can execute the platform decommissioning much easier. While the before this back to what we can, yes please. Okay, while we just about the challenge, I offer some opportunities here about the platform decommissioning. That yes, the fund we had already from the platform, new platform, and we have it's already funded, and our new plan of development, that the fund is already there for the news platform. But for a number of platform, old platform we call it, it's mostly in the abandoned. We don't have any fund yet. So there's something that we work together with the Korean government last time on that discussion. Engagement with stakeholder for utilization offshore. This is one topic that we are discussing currently now, and with expert and under a research agency, we work together. Try to develop the planning for SKN Migas. Now in SKN Migas also we are now in the process try to really overcome this issue with a long-term plan in terms of strategic planning related to this abandoned decommissioning platform. So again, Indonesia has a 630 platform and almost 70% are in condition and need to be decommissioned. This is often an opportunity or job creator for us, and then we'll give another benefit for reutilizing that structure for another business and creating the value for others. I think that's the number of slide presentation I can share with you all guys. Thank you very much for this opportunity and glad to work together. And I will surely, SKK Migas as a task force in the oil upstream industry, will certainly support all this collaborative effort between the Indonesia and Korea and the offshore research and cooperation center related to this decommissioning platform. Again, thank you very much and terima kasih banyak. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for the speech, Bapak Julius Suratno, and he has already shown us that there is opportunities to reutilization of offshore platform with engagements with stakeholders. However, there are some challenges to overcome, especially the funds. So we'll go back to Professor O. Have you finished with the technical issue, Professor O?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So please, the time is yours.
Sorry, Sarif and everybody. Our computer has some problem. Now I start. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am the chairman of Korea Maritime and Ocean University Consortium, named KMOUC, and the professor of Korea Maritime and Ocean University. My name is Jin Go. I'm glad to give a speech at this webinar session. I believe this is a result of our great effort to overcome the different situations caused by COVID-19. Today, I have prepared a special speech. The title of the speech is History of Cooperation and the Development of Offshore Platform Decommissioning between Korea and Indonesia. Firstly, I would like to introduce KMOUC briefly. KMOUC stands for Korea Maritime and Ocean University Consortium, and it is related to cooperating organization and the company on decommissioning, reutilization, and engineering of abandoned oil and gas platform in Indonesia. Since February 2014, KMOUC and Indonesia Maritime and Fisheries Human Resource and Research Agency has cooperated to conduct joint research cooperation to effectively dismantle abandoned oil and gas facility in Indonesia. Since then, we have had a lot of accomplishment. For example, making an implementing agreement, having a workshop, doing a site survey to ONWZ field, and many more. As a result, in recent years, we have several distinctive achievements, including the feasibility studies conducted in 2017 and 2018, which were tangible proofs that we were getting close to our destination. There was also the establishment of KIORCC, Korea Indonesia Offshore Research Cooperation Center, that was founded in December 2019 to accelerate the reach of our goals. Based on our histories, we are going to keep doing our activity until 2024. In addition to carrying out feasibility studies, establishing master plan, and completing national decommissioning guidelines, we are also holding associated workshop and seminar to prepare our proposal. KIORCC will be taking the fundamental role in the middle of our workflow. Master plan, feasibility studies, and NDZ are core documents we needed to carry out what we would like to do. It will be connected to the vision of platform reutilization, which are lead to live and lead to fish farm. Korean artificial reefs histories began in 1970s. At the time, coastal fishery productivity in Korea decreased due to various reasons, such as overfishing, pollution in coastal waters, and land reclamation. Artificial reefs has been used to control illegal fishing and to attack a great number of fish species, as it provides a good habitat. In Korea, many trials have been conducted to utilize artificial reefs as the solution for recovery of fishery resource. It leads to not only the aspect of fisheries, but also to creation of entertainment content, such as recreation, diving, and submarine tourism sites. Now, Korea is challenging the smart fish farm management system for our future. It is in line with the world trend in Europe, America, Japan, and China. With our experience and the high level of technology, along with IoT and big data, I would like to proudly say we can make a big step toward lead to fish farm. In order to get closer to our vision of our platform reutilization, I would like to say we need the active support from Indonesia to make unknown data into data known. I believe this webinar will be a trigger to boost cooperation between Korea and Indonesia. And in the end, our achievement will deliver significant economic and environmental benefit to both countries. Finally, very truly, I tell everyone, you should advise and help us so that we'll produce an excellent result between Korea and Indonesia. Thank you. Thank you for your kind attention to my speech. I wish you all well, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor O. We also hope that the cooperation for research and development between Indonesia and Korea will still continue and bring benefits for two countries. So the next speech will be from Bapak Purbaya from Coordinating Ministry of Maritime and Investment, Kemenko Marves. Will be the last speaker for the session 1, and Bapak Purbaya will explain the participant about the Indonesia policy for abandoned offshore oil and gas platforms today. Bapak Purbaya, the time is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to His Excellency Minister Dr. Edi Prabowo and his team at the Ministry of Ocean Affairs and Fisheries as the organizers of this webinar. Secondly, good morning as well to the Chairman of Agency for Ocean and Fisheries Research and Human Resource, Director General for Aquaculture Operations, Deputy SKK Migas, colleagues representing various government agencies in Indonesia, the representative from the Korean Maritime and Ocean University Consortium, and Korea-Indonesia Offshore Research Cooperation Center, and to other participants from Indonesia and the Republic of Korea. I hope that all of us and our families stay healthy in this uncertain period. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that most of us are already aware of the presence of over 100 of oil and gas platforms in Indonesian waters, which are currently in post-operation stage. It is in my understanding that the jurisdiction of international legal regime of the sea does not apply to such structures situated within a state's territorial waters. However, the principle is thus any installations and structures which are abandoned or disused must be either partially or entirely removed. If we look at law and regulations in Indonesia, especially the government regulation number 17 of the year 1974, requires that all offshore mining installations that are no longer operational to be removed with regard to safety and security of navigation sea lanes. Meanwhile, the government regulations number 34 of the year 2004 states that all goods and equipment directly used in upstream business activities are assets of the state. By our own law, the Indonesian government, as the legal owner of these assets, is therefore responsible for their removal. There have been reported and unreported incidents over the years involving abandoned oil and gas platforms. Fortunately, we have yet to receive any report of major safety incidents. Regular checking and maintenance of the abandoned platform is still carried out by former operators, overseen by the government agencies responsible for that. This helps in reducing the navigational hazard posed by the platforms. However, incidents in the future continues to be a possibility. Therefore, the decommissioning of these abandoned platforms remain a major concern of the government. We want to ensure the safety of navigation in Indonesian waters. Aside of this, we are also concerned about the potential harm that might be posed by these structures to the long-term health of the marine environment and their surrounding ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, there has been a strong political energy to resolve the issue. Last year, the coordinating minister Luhut Panjaitan specifically ordered for the removal of the installations to begin as soon as possible. And earlier this year, the coordinating ministry arranged a meeting with the Director General of State Asset Management to exchange views of the matter. The Director General is within the same understanding and had offered his support. With such strong willingness for action, what to do next is to implement that in a timely manner. Removing more than 100 offshore platforms is an enormous task. What we expect from this first series, however, is that we would be able to set up a roadmap of some sort. On another note, as assets of the state, these platforms represent quite a significant value in our books. We also have to consider the large amount of funding that will be required for their decommissioning. There is currently no specific fund allocated in our budget for the removal of the platform installed prior to 1994. Considering these facts, rather than complete disposal, we would prefer solutions that are based on the reutilization of these assets if such options are implementable. I have been informed that it is now technologically possible to reuse these structures to create value in other ways, aquaculture being one of the fields of potential uses. On this, we seek to cooperate with all parties, public or private, inside or outside of Indonesia, who are willing to collaborate and work on solutions to this affair. With the Republic of Korea, we have been discussing potential cooperation in the maritime sector bilaterally for a couple of years. The decommissioning of post-operation oil and gas platform has been an important part of the dialogue between the two governments. Indonesian Ministry of Ocean Affairs and Fisheries have been working with parties from the Republic of Korea in developing a master plan and guidelines for the decommissioning of the platforms, as well as studying the feasibility of potential projects. While we would like to keep our options open to work with all potential partners in the future, we are sincerely glad that the Republic of Korea responded early on this matter. We would like to see that both countries benefit from our collaborations in this program and its related projects. Perhaps some of our participants are not yet aware that we are currently in the latter stage of commencing a pilot project to decommission 3 platforms in the water of East Kalimantan. The Republic of Korea will fund a part of the decommissioning project, which will also involve relevant maritime contractors from Korea. The pilot project will be an excellent opportunity where marine specialists from Indonesia and the Republic of Korea can work together and learn from each other. It is our common hope that this first project will be a sandbox for the sake of developing the skill, knowledge, and experience, which may help Indonesian companies and workers to work on similar projects in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude my remark, the issue of post-operation oil and gas platforms in Indonesian waters involves multiple stakeholders, from government and private institutions alike. With so many agencies involved, it can be expected that the discussion and action can get a little complicated. Fortunately, at least 4 of the agencies directly involved in this affair are under the formal coordination of the Coordinating Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Investment. The Coordinating Ministry is therefore at a strategic position to manage coordination and synchronize actions and policy among the relevant stakeholders. The decommissioning of inactive oil and gas platforms in Indonesia is currently listed as the work program of the Coordinating Ministry. Directorate of Navigation and Maritime Safety had been appointed to take charge on the affair. Lastly, I would like to invite interested parties to contact us should you have issues related to the coordination with the relevant stakeholders in Indonesia regarding this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bapak Purbaya. So after we heard introduction from the keynote speakers on the research cooperation, the status of platform decommissioning nowadays, and the policy we have on the abandoned platform, we hope that you still stay at your place to participate on the second session, which is more technical and will demonstrate us lesson learned from decommissioning oil and gas platform and turn it into some benefit ideas. So let me guide you to the quick arrangement of the seminar. There will be 7 speakers in this session. Each speakers will have 10 minutes to present their ideas, and at the end of the session, we will have a question and answer session. So if you have any questions in mind from now on, please write it on the Q&A button and to whom it will be addressed. Please, first, you may fill in the attendance list plus, and also the link for the e-certificate. Okay, for the attendance form Zoom, it will be bit.ly @form Zoom, and form certificate bit.ly certificate. Thank you. And we will also send you the at your email. So in the second session, first speaker will be Mr. Cho from KIORCC. He is the co-director, and he will talk about plan and achievement of offshore decommissioning and reutilization between Korea and Indonesia. Time is yours, Mr. Cho.
Okay. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen from both Korea and Indonesia, let me begin by thanking our partner, Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Fisheries, for organizing and giving me this opportunity to deliver my presentation on achievement and plan of offshore decommissioning and reutilization between Korea and Indonesia. I will focus on the marine and fisheries aspects, offshore decommissioning and reutilization. Since this is the main theme of this webinar, however, whenever necessary, I shall add some remarks about oil and gas industry, since decommissioning is multidisciplinary subject, which also involves different ministries in Indonesia. Next, please. Can you go to the slide? Yeah, this is the table of contents of my presentation. Next, please. We've had a long history of collaboration with Indonesia, which goes back to year 2013, when we began our communication with the Indonesian government mainly with Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Fisheries of Indonesia. We were assessing different areas of collaboration and ended up deciding decommissioning and reutilization in our prime target, considering the urgency of the issue. And our collaboration has been recognized by Indonesian Coordinating Ministry of Maritime and Investment Affairs and Korean Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries, where the two ministers signed the MOU in year 2016, and it includes our areas of collaboration. Next page, please. So based on the MOU, we have established a joint organization called Korea-Indonesia Offshore Research Collaboration Center, in short, KIRC, by signing an implementing agreement in July last year and having our opening ceremony in December. Next page, please. So what I mean by the urgency of decommissioning and reutilization from my previous comment clearly explains in this diagram. There is 623 platforms located in Indonesia, and 103 of them are left idle. And even for those platforms which are in operations, majority of them are aged more than 20 years, which exceeds their design lifetime, which needs to be decommissioned in the near future. Next page, please. So this slide reiterates the issues of aging platforms and its distribution in Indonesian territorial water. Next page, please. So from this slide onwards, I will focus on the solutions that we have came up with through our collaboration with the Indonesian Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Fisheries. Of course, decommissioning of the abandoned structures can be prime option for Indonesia, where we return the ocean and sea floor to its pre-release condition. However, different methods of reutilizations are considered which can derive extra benefit or significantly reducing the financial burden of decommissioning activities. Next page, please. So through our collaboration with Indonesia, we were assessing numerous options for reutilizations. And we concluded that rig to reef and rig to fish farm is the ideal solution for Indonesia. Whereas in Korea, we are considering to reutilize the jacket structure as a substation for offshore wind energy, which is also in line with our president's new initiative, which he just published yesterday. It's called Korean New Deal. Our government will be investing $150 billion in 2025 on digital and so-called Green New Deal. So reusing the offshore structures by means of renewable energy is prime option for Korea, for Korea's case. However, as Indonesia is located in Equator and has limited wind potentials, you are focusing more to other options that mentioned earlier. Next page, please. These options for reutilizations will be further explained by following presenters, so I will explain briefly. The rig to reef option gives good shelter for fishes, which will improve marine habitats, thus it will be beneficial for local fishermen communities. For the case of Korea, we have been investing for artificial reefs since 1970s with budget over $1 billion. However, as for Indonesia, there are plenty of platforms in existence already, so huge cost savings as well as improving the marine environment is possible with reutilizing these platforms. Next page, please. So transforming the top side of the platforms as fish farm can be another business model that Indonesian aquaculture industry can consider. Through our extensive research on this topic, this fish farm option is very economic, and it is estimated to be possible to achieve the break-even point within 2 to 3 years. Next page, please. The Korea-Indonesia Offshore Research Collaboration Center is not only conducting the academic research, so we also work on the actual implementations based on our research and feasibility studies. And to achieve this goal, starting from this year, we'll be engaging with different stakeholders from Indonesia and Korea to work on the master plan, decommissioning guidelines, and supporting feasibility studies for specific operators in Indonesia each year. Next page, please. So before the implementation of our joint efforts, there are several challenges that we face currently. Of course, we need and we will be working for a clear and comprehensive legal framework for the previously mentioned options so that the operators in Indonesia can implement according to the guideline. And secondly, we will be also working, Secondly, we will be also working on the developing technologies and the transfer of the technologies through this collaboration in the areas such as the modification of the jackets to provide suitable environments for marine habitats on rig-to-reef options. And we'll be also considering about the financial options, which the previous speakers mentioned, so that we can provide comprehensive solutions for this issue in Indonesia. At the moment, it's not fixed, but we're still working on it together with Indonesian government. Next, please. So, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very confident that our collaboration and joint effort will be a success at the end. I believe the existence, extensive technologies and know-hows that Korea has developed so far can also be applied to Indonesia. And I'll be very happy to see both countries' industrial members actually implementing our jointly developed so-called marine and fisheries technologies for energy sector, just like today's webinar title highlights, as well as giving benefits for the local Indonesian communities as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cho, and we have hope also that the plan and the achievement will go through between Korea and Indonesia. The next speaker will be Bapak Anwar Rizal from Marine Research Center, Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries. He will talk about a new initiative to reutilization abandoned offshore oil and gas platforms for marine and fisheries sectors. Now he is the leader for research team, and he will show us the study that has been conducted with Korea from 2017 in several platforms in Indonesia. The time is yours, Pak Anwar.
Thank you, Ibu Niken. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to present the topic about the new initiative to reutilize abandoned offshore platform for marine and fishery sector. Before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Anwar from Marine Research Center, Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries. Next slide, please. Since 2004, we have identified the spread of the offshore platform in Indonesia. And in 2017, we worked together with our counterpart from KMUC to identify and assess abandoned offshore platform to support marine and fishery sector. And today I will present the offshore platform distribution in Indonesia, the decommissioning plan in Indonesia, and the situation, also the challenge of the offshore platform decommissioning in Indonesia, offshore platform utilization option, rig-to-reef, and rig-to-fish farm. From this map, we saw that we have above 600 offshore platforms in Indonesia, and most of them located in the Natuna, Southeast Sumatra, North Java, East Kalimantan, Madura, and some in Papua. This map also shows marine conservation area that managed by KKP, KLHK, and provincial region. Currently, we have around 23 million hectare marine conservation area, and KKP target to increase the conservation area to 30 million hectare by 2030. For your information, our conservation area is just above 7% from our ocean territory. Next slide, please. This slide shows the offshore platform distribution and the age of the platform. Around 80% of the offshore platform in Indonesia are more than 20 years old. Therefore, we need to have a plan and the roadmap for the decommissioning. Next slide, please. However, to decom the one platform, we need around $7 million, which is a not small amount for us. And coordinating Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Fisheries and Investment state that nearly 100 platforms are need to be decom this next 2 years. For that, we need around $700 million. And in the next 2 years, coordinating Ministry of Maritime and Investment planned 7 platforms for the pilot project, which is located in the Alki-1 and Alki-2. Moreover, we also assessing the possibility to use the abandoned offshore platform for the other utilities, such as for the artificial reef, aquaculture, diving spot, recreation area, research station, and others. Next slide. We have already good regulation for the decommissioning process. Like so in the presentation, there is a lot of steps for the decommissioning, like pre-asset write-off, asset write-off, project planning, permitting, bidding, and dismantle. And for the principal actor for this process must be the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Transportation, Environment and Forestry, SKK Migas, and the operator. And for the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries will be supporting for the post-decommissioning period. During the before the decommissioning period, the government spending a lot of money for the tech, the maintenance costs, and however the platform are idle and abandoned, and it become a problem for us because it's very high risk for the environment and also for the activity around the platform. Next slide, please. Our study with KMUC within 2007 up to now, we recommend several options to utilize the abandoned offshore platform for marine and fisheries sectors, such as for rig to reef, rig to fish farm, and other utilities, such as for recreational site, research station, or military base. Next slide, please. And the goal of the reutilization option is to reduce the cost of decommissioning and give an added value for marine and fisheries. We have studied and assessed several platforms in Indonesia, including platform owned by the PH Chevron Indonesia, or now changed become Pertamina Hulu Kalimantan Timur in 2017, and in PH ONWJ in 2019. In the study, we identify and grouping platform, data assessment, set survey, feasibility study, and discuss with the community and stakeholder for the reutilize the abandoned offshore platform. And based on our study, we categorize the reutilization option that can give benefit for the environment and community, like option with the low cost, high benefit, such as for rig to reef, the high cost, high benefit, such as for rig to fish farm, and the high cost, low benefits, such as for the sea adventure, renewable energy hub, fish cold storage, and the fourth option is that have a low cost and low benefits, such as for the military base or research station. Next set, please. For rig to reef, the practice of rig to reef is to converting the decommissioned oil and gas rig platform to become into artificial reef. This method is used to reduce the cost of decommissioning as well as promoting the fisheries resources in surrounding area as coral and coral reef habitat. Several countries such as in Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, California in the US, they have donated and converted more than 400 offshore platforms for the rig to reef program. Based on the study, it's reported that around 10,000 up to 30,000 adult fish that live in the surrounding platform. In Korea, they invest around $2 billion to make the prototype of offshore platform and convert it to artificial reef. What we can learn from the Gulf of Mexico, the operator in US, they raised to donate the abandoned asset for artificial reef more than 400 reefs since 2018. Fish biomass and density and around the standing oil and gas platform are higher than the artificial reef or natural reef. The potential benefit that we can gain from this program is that the environment will become healthy, that enrich the marine life in the area, the biodiversity, providing habitat, shelter, food, and other necessity elements for the fish and the coral as well. For oil and gas companies, this program will save the cost of removing, transporting, and disposing them onshore. And for the government, both central and local, the program will attract marine life that enhance fisheries and contribute to the economy and enlarge the conservation area. Next, please. For the criteria for the rig to reef program, we adopt from the Gulf of Mexico case that the suitable rifting area that are the deep clearance between 30 until 40 meters. The slope is less than 3 degrees. Seabed substrate is hard substrate, such as like the sandy coral. Distance from shore is less than 12 nautical miles, and fit with the zonation plan, influenced by the natural resources, and have good seawater parameter. During the 2017 and 2019, we did the feasibility study in the North Java Sea and East Kalimantan. We recommended the XC2 rig to reef due to the existing regulation that the structure will be cut and towed outside the oil and gas field and placed into the conservation area. And the placement is by design and how to make it different with the dumping activity. We have several areas in the North Java Sea, like we see in the slide, and some area in the East Kalimantan near the KKBD Bontang. Next slide, please. And we have several options in the North Java Sea in Indramayu near the Pulau Biawak Island, and in Karangbui in Subang. We have area from 15 hectare up to 150 hectare in Subang. It's very potential area for the placement of rig to reef. We also doing the ecosystem services assessment in the Indramayu and Subang, as well as in Bontang, Kalimantan Timur. Next slide, please. And for the offshore fish farm option, our President Joko Widodo want Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries to do the offshore aquaculture, because the President has high interest on offshore aquaculture, and we can use the topside and modify it to install and supporting the facility, and we can use the jacket as a mooring point for the fish cage. The consideration of the offshore fish farm is that we have an experienced pilot project with Norway using floating cage in Aceh and in south of Java. However, we need to consider the submersible cage for this project. And the weather and the marine environment are different with this, than Korea or Norway. So, for the application from Korea or Norway, we need to adopting the technology, but we need to consider our local weather in Indonesia. Using the offshore platform as a mooring point can be installed and on the surrounding area on the platform, and the benefit of the offshore platform that we have 95% survival rate, which is very highly economical compared to the 50 until 60% survival rate on onshore aquaculture. However, we need to consider the accessibility to the platform because it's the key factor for the offshore aquaculture. Next slide, please. We have, together with the Korea Maritime Ocean University Consortium, we developed the 3 different scenario and the economic calculation for the 1 cage, 4 gag, or 10 cage with the different species like tiger grouper, snapper, or tuna. Each scenario has a different economic gain in the period of 10 years to reach the break-even point. We saw that we see the sample of the offshore aquaculture in Texas, in Mississippi, New Hampshire, and we also have the in Aquatech Bandung, they developed the submersible cage, which is a very good product for the Indonesian company, and we can apply if we can do this project. We develop also, next please, the design of the offshore aquaculture and the submersible cage together with the KMOUC. Okay, next slide, please. Now for the issue of the post-decommissioning and to utilize the option for the marine and fisheries. There are several issues such as the nuclear law enforcement in Indonesia, and the asset status must be clear, and lack of financial support from the government or the private sector. We don't have national action plan for artificial reef as well, and the location of the offshore platform is still in the restricted and prohibited oil and gas area, so we cannot access easily for the area. And if we want to change the platform for rig to rig or rig to fish farm, we also need to change the regulation or regulatory change from the oil and gas operation to the another operation or activities such as for the fish farm production. And we also need the scientific evidence to in the surrounding area of the platform to find an answer of the policy debate over the rig to reef or rig to fish farm, about the revenue for marine conservation or commodity or state or reasonable liability for the company or not, or the environment condition support or not, and etc. I think that's all my presentation, and if you have any question or comment, you can send me email through my email address, or you can just drop me some question in my email. Thank you.
Thank you, Bapak Anwar, and he already saw us the procedure for decommissioning in Indonesia, and give us some option for the conversion of abandoned platform into some benefit use. The research are still ongoing until 2020 and cooperation until 2024, and hopefully the scientific cooperation will still continues after the bilateral meeting in this August. So the next speaker is Mr. Son Kyusik. Mr. Son is a team leader of Korea Indonesia Offshore Research Cooperation Center, and he will share us offshore platform removal and reefing method in Indonesia. The time is yours, Mr. Son.
Selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi,
안녕하세요.
Pak.
반갑습니다. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Son Kyusik, Executive Team Lead of Korea Indonesia Offshore Cooperation Center. And I'm very honored to give a presentation today. I know that now more than 300 people watch this video. So my presentation is slightly technical side, but all these things are happening in the sea, so you should understand what is decommissioning. I heard that some of the participants working for the marine and fisheries area only, so I try to explain as it's possible to get something today. Let's say, what is decommissioning? Apa itu decommissioning? Next, please. So table of contents start from definition of decommissioning to challenges of decommissioning in Indonesia. Next, please. So first of all, we need to understand what is the decommissioning. As you can see in the platform configuration is the right side. Most of the offshore facilities are connected through the seabed. Here we can find out simple theory of the decommissioning work, which is a separation from seabed and the moving to other locations for other purpose. So decommissioning means when oil and gas fields and the production, their facilities need to be dismantled and disposed or decommissioned. Finally, marine nature returning to the original conditions. Next page. Then, why we have to remove? It only spend money. Why not just leave it as it is? Because international regulation says to be decommissioned. Regional regulation says, government law says, production license says, have to be removed. Also, this work created new jobs and money back to the society. If not removed, then what will be happen? Platform maintenance cost will be spent for every year, and they can be damaged due to the corrosion and the environmental conditions. Finally, it could be a marine hazard. Below photos show few cases, for instance, with offshore platforms. Aged platform could be structurally weakening and easy to damage by earthquake, ship collision, fire, etc. If damaged, then platform will be in uncontrolled situations, then spend more money later on. That's why decommission has to be done as soon as possible. Next, okay. This slide shows typical decommissioning process. Once decommissioning project is start, then mobilize project management team is the very first activity. Then start the activities. for engineering, procurement, and subcontracting work. Then going to the offshore for removal, then we have to remove well plugging and abandonment, removal of conductors, and everything. Next page. So what kind of activities in decommissioning area? I think a lot of people only know that just cut and remove, either reaping or fish farm or recycling. But here is a lot of activities at the sea and the onshore. So there is a preparation work also. Preparation work, removal, reuse. And the preparation work start from plugging and abandonment and decontaminations and pipeline cleaning, removal work, and especially for reuse. Today we are focusing on reuse case, especially artificial reef and the fish farm. There is a few other purposes. So there is a lot of possibility to reuse aged platform for our business. Okay, next slide. As I mentioned in previous slide, there are many options for decommissioning work. This is a chart showing various options from reuse in new locations after refurbishment and other use, partial and total removal, and the living place. So every option to be selected based on environmental impact assessment with the technical and the commercial evaluations with the actual condition of the platform. So a little bit complicated, but there is activities always based on engineering and the commercial side. So next page. So what to be decommissioned in Indonesia? Below a table showing the few different types of the offshore facilities to be decommissioned, but this is just for reference. Every single offshore structure are unique and different. For example, weight and configuration, age, locations, water depth, condition of structures, etc. That's why the use option also have to be considered case by case. Next page. This figure showing a previous also, but what I'm trying to showing in here, just to look at platform age, more than 40 years is 157, and older than 31 to 41 years, 180. So total numbers is 337, so which is a big amount of numbers. Next slide. This shows removal method, typical removal methodology, removal of spools and the conductors and the topside, jacket, and then finally transport to the onshore or reaping site. So this is a simple weather case, but some of the facilities a little bit complicated than this one. Next. So once we remove, then what do we have to do? According to my previous slide, there are many options, like sent to the onshore for scrap or recycling, rig to reap, and the rig to fish farm, etc. This slide will explain how to reaping at offshore. So there are 4 different methods: single jacket, multi-jacket, piece small, and topside. The final decision will be selected based on engineering assessment and the condition of the structures, environmental conditions at site, etc. Next slide. This slide shows method of making artificial reef. There are 2 cases, one for the lifting and lowering, and the other is toppling. So below layout showing sample of the Indonesia reaping case and the photo bottom right showing actual side scan sonar image of jacket at reef site in Gulf of Mexico. These photos show that Indonesia also needs proper planning to make the reefs more effective. So for this purpose, Korea-Indonesia Offshore Cooperation Center will prepare national decommissioning guideline together with the KKP and the MRC. So this will be a good guideline for government and operators. Next slide. So this is the KIOC's work plan for next 5 years. There are 3 major activities for feasibility study, happen for every year, and master plan and the national decommissioning guideline. Next slide. Details of each activities are as follows. So especially for feasibility study, and MRC and KMOC has conducted field survey presented by Mr. Anwar for selected field and prepared for environmental and social analysis. These are important information to prepare decommissioning project planning for operators. So to say, for national decommissioning guideline also. So KIO and the KKP and other departments did good cooperation to provide effective and efficient guidelines for operators to proceed decommissioning smoothly. Next, please. So this is my last presentation. So decommissioning is not one man or a single department can achieve. There are lots of stakeholders are involved and need good interface management. So following are challenges of decommissioning in Indonesia from my point of view. Previous page, please. Previous page.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Song, for showing us the details, methods on how to remove the offshore platform. And Mr. Son also described there are 4 methods on turn the rig into reef. There are single jacket, multi-jacket, small jacket, and the topside types. So the next presentation will be from Dr. Offrey Johan. He is an expert of coral reef transplantation from our office, and he will speak about his experiences on artificial reef and how it connects to sustainable development goals. The time is yours, Pak Offrey. Pak Offrey, have you joined us? Okay, so I think he is not ready yet. Can we move to Dr. O?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. O will share his experience on Korea National Reef Program and results. This will be an interesting topic since he will show us the method how to transplant the coral, and maybe we can adopt the same methods here in Indonesia. Please take your time, Dr. O.
Okay, good morning, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Offrey Johan. I would like to give a presentation about artificial reef and sustainable development goal. Thank you to Mbak Niken. Thanks also for Marine Research Center to invite me on this webinar.
Pak Offrey,
yeah?
sorry. I will speak to Dr. O please. First, please. Dr. O, we will continue first with Dr. Afri Johan. Is that okay?
Okay.
For the continuation, the program.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Please,
Pak
Pak Afri.
I continue.
Yes, you may continue, please.
Okay. The next slide. The next. Okay. It's not. It's full, eh? As in introduction, I think all participants know about the artificial reef. Artificial reef is a man-made underwater structure typically built to promote marine life in areas with generally filterless bottom. Actually, in my opinion, when we have a good and very good condition of coral, we don't need artificial reef. Based on the last report of the status of Indonesia coral reef 2019, we have 6.42% categorized excellent condition, only 5.42, and 71.2 in poor and fair condition. So that's why some places in Indonesia do and have program to establish artificial reef, including the combination of this platform project. What the function of the artificial reef, I note 4 here, to provide hard surface to encourage marine biota, such coral, soft coral, and fish will be schooling there, invertebrate and life among them. And the second, to control erosion, breakwater, block ship fishing, block the use of the trolling nets. So when the platform there, trolling net will not allow to operation there. Attractive purpose for diving, wreck dive, artifacts. The important for a researcher is the researcher can use to study marine biota, bioactive compound for medicine, fish culture, and endemic biota. The next, I identify 3 types of the artificial reef. Artificial reef, the purpose from the beginning for artificial reef that many Indonesian area do this artificial reef like reef pole, fish shelter, concrete substrate for coral transplantation and encrusting coral larvae. The second, artificial reef for shipwreck, helicopter, fighter, airplane crash in the air and sink to the marine, the sea. And the third, reutilization by sinking, like in Jakarta, pedicab, car, train, oil and gas rigs. That the program of this webinar told about this. Cutting ship, bridge, lighthouses, and other offshore structure. There is program through the rigs to the reef program. I have really happy with the first time I joined with the wreck dive in abandoned Japanese shipwreck in Coron, Palawan, Philippines. It's about 2000. First for me, the first for me to pay for diving because it's very exciting. Most diving for research for myself pay by project, but for this I use my own money to pay. Want to solve the wreck dive in Philippines. So I have experience wreck dive in Tulamben, Indonesia, in Bali. I saw many fish and also many tourists and also local tourists that here. So it's very interesting artificial reef for the future in Indonesia. Then existing of artificial reef in Indonesia, we have done several kind of artificial reef in Indonesia. I joined some project and found some kind artificial reef in underwater. It was Seribu Island, north of Jakarta, on this picture. The left pictures, I found some concrete transplant coral. So the concrete, we can transplant the coral on the artificial reef. The next. I have done the duty from Marine Research Center to identify Pak Anwar and Pak Bambang and team to identify what kind of marine life found in platform in east of Kalimantan, Indonesia. I did it by visual observation from video that not specific target to identify species, but for the target is for maintenance of the platform staff. So it's very difficult to be accurate identification, but at least general taxonomy I will show in the next slide. Next slide. The species that dominant and I can say invasive species that I found in the platform is species of Tubastria or Coccinia. It's a hard coral. So because the platform is too deep, I think it's not like hard coral like Acropora, the branching, and Montipora operatus. We didn't find in the platform. Tubastria Coccinia is the pink and yellow color, and the second species of the hard coral is Tubastria micrata. Its species is uncommon species, very rare found around Indonesia, but when we found it could be more abundant in that place. So the platform is the place for this species. Very many dive I found I did in Indonesia. Said right, Tubastria micrata is rare, and so it's exciting. We found in platform. The sponge I identify is about more than 20 species of sponge, different species, I guess, because I cannot specific until species because limited picture. Sponge we know as bioactive for medicine in human or aquaculture purpose. So it's opportunity to research for research and to study about distribution, interesting vertical distribution. New species of sponge, maybe we can find here. My experience, I found new species of sponge in Natuna, but not published yet. The next. About the fish, I found 3 species of the reef fish. I found reef fish is like here, Pomacanthus species, and also how we call Chaetodon. Chaetodon fish, 2 species of 3 species of Chaetodon. It's interesting because it means platform is can coral stay there. That's why coral fish come there. 3 species of the reef fish. Oh no, it's 4. Sorry, 4. The next about the other species like spong, subcoral and gorgonian. It's interesting that I didn't know before is I guess one appendix 1 of CITES I found in that platform is Antipathes. Antipathes is an endangered species. It's a gorgonian, one species of gorgonian. The next, as sustainable development goal, I can conclude that artificial reef can create habitat for a variety of marine life, such invasive species such as the orange cap coral, Tubastria oxinia, hydroid, coronet, spong, and also other hard coral. But in that platform, we don't find shallow coral in shallow water. We cannot find like Acropora, Porites. Maybe other platform we can find that species. Research opportunity to study distribution, bioactive, and compound of marine biota. It's very good opportunity. Artificial reef might provide local economic benefit because they attract fish, schooling fish. I found in video many schooling fish. We saw also grouper are therefore popular attraction for the commercial and diver, snorkeler, and underwater photographer. It's good to take photo for photographer there. To reach the sustainable goal, it needs extensive planning, evaluation, and permitting, and that the commission doing right now. I think take care in the place artificial reef in target habitat area to avoid damaging existing habitat. Based experience in the Seribu Island, we invite local community to do work together about how to replace the artificial reef. Also platform later, I think. That's all my presentation. I have enjoyed, and any question we can discuss. Thank you, Mbak Niken.
Thank you, Pak Ofri. Pak Ofri has shown us the many marine life in platforms, colorful, about 20 species of sponges. Even he found a new species in Natuna, also gorgonian, and many species of reef associated fish. So the next will be Dr. O. Sorry for the postpone earlier, because we need to inform the audience first about what we found, the sponges, the reef in platform. So the next will be yours. Dr. Oh Taekun is FIRA team leader, the Korea Fisheries Resource Agency, and he will show us how to transfer the coral. Maybe we can transfer from the source from the platform also. So the time is yours, Dr. Oh.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Taegun Oh, and I work for Fisheries Resources Agency in Korea. I'm very glad to introduce Korea artificial reef business to you. In addition, I would like to appreciate to those who have prepared this good chance to introduce our business. And today I will present to introduce to you the procedure and status of artificial lift project in Korea and how it is being used. In the discussion section, I will also consider the economic effect when oil platforms are used as artificial lifts. Okay. Yes. Many marine organisms live on the seabed rock. The reason is that there are many attached organisms on the rock and a lot of food for fish, and also it provides the fish with a place to hide or spawning ground. In fact, as you see these pictures, there are so many fishes at the artificial reef site. Next slide, please. Yes, next slide, please. Okay. We can divide into three major categories about artificial reef functions. There are so many artificial reef functions, but we focus the ecological function of artificial reef. The first function is the habitat providing to fish, and artificial reef are a very good shelter for young fish, and it provides a great place to juvenile to avoid from large fish like predators such as yellowtail tuna, etc. And second function of artificial reef is the providing food for fish, because many attached organisms exist on the reef, and a lot of planktons and other prey organisms are gathered around the reefs. And third is the spawning ground for many fishes. As you know, the fish requires an object such as a rock and seaweed to attach their egg for spawning. And artificial reef provide with good substrate for spawning object to a lot of fish. Next, please. Yes, these are artificial reefs that have used in Korea since 1971 for 50 years. The material is mainly made of concrete and steel, and we have a lot of their size from 1.5 meters to 30 meters. Next, please. The artificial reef business in Korea have started since 1971, as I told you, and the invested total amount is 1,021 million US dollar, and in addition, the total volume amount of artificial reef is 12 million cubic meters. Next, please. Let's see a process of installing artificial reef in Korea. The installation of artificial reef project consists of 4 steps. The first step is a selection of a suitable site. The site selection is mainly divided into biological, marine environment survey, and topographic and sediment analysis. The ocean environment surveys consist of water temperature, salinity, dissolved oxygen, etc. And ecological survey are mainly measured by fishing catch using fishing gear like gillet trolling. Topography and sediment surveys will carry out to consider well seabed for artificial reef installing using side-scan sonar and echo sounding, etc. And then artificial reefs are installed using cranes at selected locations. The installed artificial reef must check the condition of 1 through seasonal surveys. Monitoring is as important as installation artificial reef. Therefore, we have to check how many fish there are in artificial reef. And artificial reefs has not been sunk into the soft bottom. Whether the thrown rope and fishing gear away exist in the artificial reef or not. And all of these, all of these informations are sent into our database and used as a basic data in order to make a better artificial reef business in the future. Yes, next, please. An artificial leaf for seaweed will be installed in the shallow water because seaweed need sunlight. And general artificial leaf for fish are mostly installed deep water. In Korea, seaweed artificial leaf are set up within 50 meters and fish artificial leaf are deployed within 70 meters. However, if artificial leaf would install in the deep water, we might have some problems for post-management because human diving can be very difficult. And then we have mainly installed artificial leaves within 40 meters depth. Yes, next, please. Yes, next, and next. Yes. In this figure, the distance between neighboring leaf set was considered by about 400 meters. The distance between leaf set is designed by 400 meters for benthic fishes and by 600 meters for pelagic fishes such as tuna, yellowtail, and anchovy, etc. Yes, next, please. Post-management of artificial leaves is as very important as installation is. If a fishing net is wrapped around an artificial leaf, it may be soon lead to ghost fishing. Therefore, it is necessary to monitor and check that how well the artificial leaf have effectiveness constantly. As you can see, these pictures, gathered fishes at artificial leaves are measured by gillet. And generally, leaf sites are reported to show 3 times fishing catch amount higher than non-artificial leaf site. Next, please. We are also promoting the marine ranching business in Korea. We make a fishing ground using artificial leaf and fish seeds like young fish, juvenile fish have released in that place. Moreover, we provide fishing tourism and diving spot to the marine ranches. Yes, next, please. And next, please. Marine ranches in Korea will be made to 50 sites by 2022 years. And next, please. In fact, any other objects can be an artificial leaf. For example, in Korea, trains not well operated are used as artificial leaf, and they are served a good diving point. And we are using a warship to make a fish leaf. And these warship leaves are installed at a depth of 30 meters. These artificial leaves are attracting many divers, and these have excellent fish gathering effect. Not only Korea, but also United States and Japan are using these recycling objects as an artificial leaf. But it takes a lot of money to get rid of contents like oil and plastics to install under the sea. But however, next please. However, the marine oil platforms has no such worries because oil platforms has served as a great reef by itself with many attached organisms under the sea for decades. It can be used as an artificial leaf as itself. In fact, in Korea, there are many fish leaves made of steel. As you can see, it is an artificial leaf made of steel with a volume of 800 cubics. And it has a lot of fish, and it usually shows about 3 times the fish catch amount more than non-artificial leaf site. And it has a very similar structure to the oil platforms, right? The economic effect of the artificial leaf site was analyzed to be 3 times more than non-artificial leaf site in Korea. when the volume of one oil platform is assumed by about 5,000 cubic. It has a same volume of 6 times still lives in Korea. Therefore, an economic value of more than 1.5 million US dollar per site is generated from the sea. In addition, the marine ecosystem will continue to be preserved and fishermen will get great benefits. Korea has been made artificial reef business for about 40 years since 1971. So we have a lot of know-how about the artificial reef business. The Sea of Indonesia and the Sea of Korea are connected with one. And we would like to help to reach the Sea of Indonesia with our technology and with your oil platforms. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. O, for sharing your experience on coral transplantation and marine ranching. For me, the recycling artificial reefs from ship or train is most interesting. Since we have here is only for beca or the rumpon. So the next speaker will be Pak Rohmat M. Rofik from the Directorate General Aquaculture. And he will talk about Indonesia toward offshore aquaculture and show us how is the status, the challenge, and the opportunities for offshore aquaculture nowadays. Please, Pak Rofik, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Manikan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. I hope you still join with this seminar or meeting in here. In this session, I will try to present the presentation about the Indonesian toward offshore aquaculture. Next slide, please. Yes, I introduce myself. My name is Rohmat M. Rofik. Now I'm head of program division in the Directorate General of Aquaculture, Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries. Next. Yeah. Indonesia have a huge potential for aquaculture, especially for mariculture. As we can see in his graph, we show that we have 12 million hectares of area for mariculture, but the utilization of this area is small. It's about 2 until 3% of it. So this is because the challenge for developing the mariculture is the lack of utilization of potential aquaculture areas, because the lack of the access to capital, and also something lack of access for transportation, and also for some area is in the remote area. Next. Okay. Yes. Is for 2008 until 2017, based on the statistic data, proportional of aquaculture production in Indonesia, most of it is come from the seaweed, is 65%, and 25% from finfish, 6% from crustacea, and 4% is from oyster and others. 25% from finfish is consists of the freshwater finfish, and then brackish water finfish such as milkfish, and others is from mariculture finfish. But most of it is maybe about 5% come from the mariculture finfish. Next. This is the contribution for the community. Mariculture is main contributor of Indonesian aquaculture production, but most of it is come from the seaweed, especially from Ecoma cottoni. And most of mariculture production is export commodity and contributor to foreign earnings. Since like Barramundi, grouper, and pompano, also seaweed is have
value, the huge value for export communities. And other communities as grouper Barramundi or giant seepers and pompano and oysters is contribute in a small part of the mariculture. And as we can see in this data, so for seaweed is in 2017 is the number of production is 10.5 million tons, but compared with the finfish, especially the grouper one, is the big one is only 70,000 tons, and the last one is from pompano is only for 4,000 tons. And for the value, but in value, the grouper is even in the number is only maybe 5% from the seaweed, but the number is in 2017 is because the grouper is a high value commodity, so the value will be high compared with the seaweed. And seaweed is export in raw material, so it's not a value added commodity in seaweed. Next. Yeah, for the global potential of aquaculture production in Indonesia, as you can see in the above picture, we can see that Indonesia, all Indonesian area, including in 1% of EEZ zone, is have potential to develop the mariculture. So Indonesia have, as I said in the first slide, is have a big potential to develop mariculture in Indonesia, especially for offshore aquaculture, because we have a exclusive zone for develop in more than 12 miles. Next. See, Southeast Asia is already major aquaculture production, but not in marine fish in cage, because in Indonesia also marine fish is developed in traditional mariculture from floating cage from bamboo, and not too many that develop the mariculture in the offshore or near shore with the high-tech technology like polyethylene floating kits or something with high technology. Next, please. Okay, this is the potential area to develop the mariculture. As you can see in his map, a lot of area have potential is in a Sumatran hectare area, and also in eastern Indonesia, like in Sulawesi, Nusa Tenggara Timur area, and Maluku also have a huge potential for develop the mariculture and also for offshore mariculture. So but the potential planning, marine spatial planning, that the decree is released by the province government to more sure about how many area that have that can develop for as a mariculture or offshore mariculture. Next. So this the advantages and disadvantages of Indonesian mariculture for the geography one. The advantages is estimated as 7,000 islands, provide many sites for mariculture operation, but the disadvantages is lack of infrastructure. For the climate, equatorial position, which bring high temperatures, throughout the year of the relativity seasonal variation. So compared with the another ASEAN countries, such as the Philippines or Vietnam, Indonesia is more calm in the weather or in the weather. So because Indonesia is free from cyclone, so we have advantages to develop mariculture, especially for offshore mariculture or offshore mariculture, because we don't have a cyclone that can impact the site of the offshore mariculture. See, like in the natural disaster, no subject to cyclonic storms, but the disadvantage of Indonesia is subject to volcanic and tectonic activity. So we have to concern about the area that free from volcanic and tectonic area, such as like in Krakatau or something in Sabang. We have underwater lava that running in the Sabang. For the labor availability of, we have the advantages is availability of workforce and low labor costs, and the disadvantages is a lack of semi-skilled and skilled labor. And the city, we have the high birth debt. The disadvantages is need the effort to research and development to develop more species with high productivity, and increase the production technology for mariculture and offshore farming. Next. Okay. The strategy and action plan for the Indonesia mariculture is a clustering of mariculture area. The action plan is determine a certain area as a center of mariculture development, develop of integrated area of mariculture between upstream and downstream. Then the strategy of extensification. So the action plan is develop the new area of mariculture, especially in eastern of Indonesia, and overall in the new area with the marine spatial planning. So we don't want to have a conflict with another utility of marine area. So and then is the strategy to diversification of the commodity, such as cobia. So our implementing unit in Lampung have developed the cobia, already have the broodstock in there, and then to prepare the hatchery and also for the juvenile and ready to grow out in offshore or in onshore farming. And the strategy is improve mariculture technology with the eco-friendly technology that supports sustainable aquaculture. And then the implementation of IoT mariculture with the remote control, automatic feeder, and automatic monitor. And the last is research and development like sustainable technology. Next. This is a species, potential species for offshore mariculture. One is grouper. Now we all have a lot of hybrid grouper that can be cultured in offshore mariculture. Next is then is Barramundi. And the Barramundi have a potential market in Europe and Australia, and also for the local market have a potential market in there. So it is a Barramundi, one of the favorite species to develop in offshore mariculture. Next. This is what I can say that before. That is a cobia with a high market value and ready to develop with the market in Asia, Europe, and North America. Next. This is a pompano. It's a greedy fish, but also can develop in offshore mariculture. But we have to careful with the conversion, feed conversion of this species. Next. So second is this. We can see here that Indonesia is free from cyclone. So we can develop the mariculture or offshore mariculture in almost in all area Indonesia, but we have to concern about the marine spatial planning and also the requirement of site of this offshore mariculture. Next. For example, in here, this is a stable area for catch farming in offshore in Bali and Nusa Tenggara Barat. Next. This is Nusa Tenggara Timur in area. Next, next. Is also in Nusa Tenggara Timur. We have a potential area to develop, as we can see here. Yeah, Nusa Tenggara. Next is in this is Nusa Tenggara Timur also. Next. Yeah, and this is a Batam. I mean, in Rio Islands. This is a Lingga area. So we can see the circle red is the have a potential to develop, but we have to have a specific visit to more understand about the weather, when the wave, current, and also for the depth of this area. Next. Okay, this is area Bali. Can we say this is the flow Bali in Jembrana and in Buleleng. Next. Okay. Okay, thank you from my presentation. Thank you for your consent. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Pak Rafiq. We have seen some presentation about the situation of mariculture in Indonesia. There are some obstacles, but very promising in the future. So last but not least, Mr. Won Sung-jae will show us a challenge and achievement for offshore aquaculture in Korea. And how can we learn from Korea about offshore aquaculture, what method, what species, how about the practices, and how they overcome the harsh and extreme weather, wave, and current. But since he cannot join us online, so we will play his presentation today.
Good day. I'm Sung-jae Won, CEO of the Oceanwide, and also am the designer for the aquaculture system. I am going to introduce what I have been preparing for the aquaculture business in Indonesia. I hope this presentation helps fishery industries development in South Korea and Indonesia. First of all, I would like to give an overview of the aquaculture and the current status of the aquaculture in South Korea. After that, I will introduce you with the system and the concept of the fish farm. Lastly, I would like to review the business that we will discuss. Internationally, there is a rapid increase in aquatic products consumption. Accordingly, marine aquaculture farming is an essential key to increase the output of the aqua products. Especially, it is becoming a trend that conducting aqua farming at the offshore for acquiring natural aqua products and protecting the environment. South Korea government is supporting the policy with the Smart Aquaculture's Aqua 4.0, and it is approximately 600 billion Korean won invested. In the aquaculture technology field, there are lots of emerging industry and industrial methods with the superb ICT expertise of South Korea. Smart farming aims to the increase production and maximize profit by monitoring fish, measuring the marine environments, cleaning nets, and managing automatic feeding devices. Let me tell you the brief status of the aquaculture in South Korea. South Korea has several optimized conditions for aquaculture, including the rias coast. However, some other issues give challenges for many companies in South Korea, such as typhoon, red tide, and high water temperature and wave. Recently, some research demonstration complexes combine fish and food in the maritime wind power complexes to develop the aquaculture industry. As I mentioned right before, there are several critical conditions in the aquaculture field. If those critical issues arise to the cages in Indonesia, what could be done by the people? Possibly, you can be asked to transfer the cage to the side or down the sea. The type of a cage can be divided as a floating cage, submersible cage, and a seabed cage, depending on the place that they are installed. However, these fixed type of cages can be exposed to external environmental effects and risks. To remove those, the cages need to be moved the other way or go deeper. This picture shows the wave energy according to the depth of water. As the depth of water goes deeper, the energy that wave produces decreases. In other words, we can keep the cage and fishes from pollution and wave energy if the cage goes down from 20 meters from the surface. The steel cage can go up and down freely by compressed air. In usual practice, it is laborious to lower the cage evenly due to the size of the fish cage. However, I made an improved model and system which use balancing values and have passed the field test. The video is the example of the cage installed in the East Sea of South Korea. The cage has 25 meters in diameter and the type of the fish is the yellowtail. It takes about 20 minutes to float. Too fast floating can make fish stressful. Therefore, it is crucial to maintain adequate time to float. We have conducted various analysis methods, such as modeling tests, CFD simulations. We have tested it in a wave tank and checked the volume and flow of the cage, which is especially important. It is crucial to analyze for the mooring system, since the forensic cages can be used in extreme marine environments. Engineering research is needed from the development stage. This picture shows the concept of fish barn. This system can provide stability and maintain constant volume for fish culture. There's an automatic distribution system at the top of the offshore plant, which automatically feeds the surrounding cages. The cages are 30 meters in diameter and raised separately according to their growth. By activating aquaculture farming as using marine plants, aquaculture industries such as aquaculture young fish production, aquaculture equipment production, and marine products processing can grow together. As you know, South Korea is world's #1 country in shipbuilding and offshore plant production. Based on this development and production know-how, Korean companies are creating a new industry by combining the best ICT expertise. With our cutting-edge technology, Indonesia can also generate industry-wide growth by boosting its offshore plant-type marina industry. This project requires good cooperation between governments. The related company has to communicate frequently and effectively to carry out the project properly. In Indonesia, there are abundant possibilities that fish farming can cause excellent economic effect according to the business model. For these reasons, we can start project as possible. Thanks for the hearing.
Okay, so it's time to Q&A session. So it's time to clarify, confirm, and ask the speakers. And we have all the speakers should be ready for the questions. And the question 1 that we have collected from the participants will be shown in the screen. Okay. First question for Mr. Cho. What are fundamental goals for the realization of this platform to reach to reef?
Right. I should continue answering, right? So yeah, basically for KIORC and Korea Maritime and Ocean University Consortium as a representative from Korean government, this is the actual fundamental goal for us to implement our study carried out with KKP. This will be our initial goal. And secondly, we like to promote the B2B collaboration in the later stage when both countries can learn each other. Of course, Korea has many experiences in Korean Sea. But of course, Indonesia is another area, and of course, the environment is a little different compared to Korea. But from hearing from the companies and the experts, many of them are saying Indonesia is like a paradise compared to Korea in terms of the marine environment, and onshore and offshore environments are like a paradise compared to Korea, where we have very limited resources in Korea, but we have high technologies that's been developed through many years. So I'm hoping that we can transfer the technologies through Korean companies and Indonesian companies later, collaborate with each other in the later stage, and then they can expand their businesses to other areas of Southeast Asia region. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cho. And the questions will be delivered to our Korean partners, to Mr. Son and Dr. Oh. First, for Mr. Son, in Route to Farm program, do you think the safety of these activities after succeeded convert platform to aquaculture can be guaranteed, since those areas are located around the oil and gas fields that need specific terms and conditions? Mr. Son?
I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, okay.
So can I see the question again?
Questions. Wait a minute.
Okay. Okay. So especially in the oil field, there is a lot of the subsea pipelines and cables. Also nearby another platforms. So basically, inside oil field, reaping at inside oil field, special permissions from operators. And what we propose at the moment, if platform is isolated, then it can be reaping at site. Yes, but that is a very economical, conditions. But as I presented, we may have to move to another location which is convenient and effective for reaping. Yes, there is some rules and regulations how we can do the reaping. And then at the moment, as far as I know, there's not very specific. We are developing, certain guidelines how to reaping at site or move to another location, and how to find out suitable locations how far from the field actually. So let's say there is rules, but the most preferred reaping method is a remote area. So bring all together, decommission, the structures put in the nearby area, and then it will be more effective. So I'm not sure my answer is good enough or not.
Okay, hopefully the answer will be educated to the participants. Okay, the next question will be to Pak Gede Arya. Pak Gede Arya, Pak Gede Arya, would you answer this question?
Yes.
Okay,
thank you.
please.
I'm on behalf of Pak Julius because Pak Julius has a meeting. So about how to calculate the decommissioning budget after 1994, that the PSC contractor actually has proposed how the method and how the estimated budget for the ASR. We call ASR like Pak Julius said before because ASR is start from fuel PN, included the fuel PNA, and then included the removal of the facility, included the platform and pipeline and others, and also include the site restoration. So all the package, all the activity will be proposed by the PSC contractor. It's not too detailed, but the base calculation is all the facility was removed and stored in the junkyard or in area. So it's not based on the reutilization. So that's why this reutilization, of course, in later on can be make the economical way for our activity in ASR. And then when the PSC contractor already proposed the method of the ASR or decommissioning and also the estimated budget until and escalate the budget is the cost is escalate to the year when the decommissioning or the ASR will be executed. And then in every years, if we already agreed the amount of the budget or the cost, and then every year the PSC contractor will do the reserve of fund through our work program and budget process. So that's why how the calculation of the decommissioning or the ASR budget for the PSC after 1994. That's why the amount that Pak Julius showing on the previous presentation, showing how much the ASR fund was already reserved. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Pak Gede Arya. And the second question, there's another question.
Yes.
About the impacts of the energy activities, the platform activities in the ocean on biota, on the marine life and fisheries, and if there is any disturbance, is there any contribution or payback to the communities or to the government and about the impacts of the drilling and other please.
Yeah. Okay. For the activity of drilling and also operation of the oil and gas, of course, the first, before we do the activity, we have the we call for drilling maybe some UKL, UPL or environmental permit from the KLHK, from the Ministry of the Forestry and
Forest and Environment.
Environment. So that's why all the impact that will be the impact of the environment, all the environmental impact will be captured on those permit or on AMDAL, on UKL, UPL. So every activity like drilling, we already consider what the effect, and then again the include like the marine biota, all the thing, and then so we do the activity with safely manner and also consider the environmental. So those is our preventive action we do to avoiding the environmental impact with the marine biota and other, include also impact with the social and social activity. That Bu Nikan.
So is there any events or any moments that you have to pay back for the the drilling or the activities like that to the communities, or?
Usually we do the socialization, but for the impact, yeah, maybe if there's some, of course, during the operation drilling, let's say, we also have the preparation of how to mitigate the worst scenario. Let's say if there's any bubbling or any contaminant on the sea, so we already also prepare the emergency response. So we prepare all the thing. So to mitigate or to minimize the impact of the environmental, and if there is happen and then impact like the case of the Pertamina previously in offshore Northwest Java, yeah, maybe there's some claim need to be paid by the company.
Okay, thank you, Pak Gede Arya. And then the next question will be for Pak Rafiq from Directorate of General of Aquaculture. Pak Rafiq?
Yeah.
Okay. First, how to combining aquaculture and energy is an idea that has been discussed in several papers. And how is what is the future for Indonesia? How do you think?
I think it's possible if we can develop in some area that have source of that kind of energy. Can you still showing the question, please?
Wait for a moment. Yeah.
Okay. So, in my mind, this is not my opinion. Is about the aquaculture and energy is very close. As we can discuss in this workshop, that the rig position in offshore aquaculture have the potential to develop the energy from the wind. so we can have energy from them and to produce aquaculture as self energy for the aquaculture unit. For the feasibility, we still don't have any calculation for that for that method, because we still have to develop and we have to work very hard with the research and development in Indonesia, especially with the Center of Marine Research and also for Center for Aquaculture Research. And I think we have the potential to develop the technology. And the second question is about what for the third question is
what is the future of mariculture in Indonesia?
Oh, the future of mariculture in Indonesia. As I mentioned in my presentation, we have huge potential for mariculture, and I think Indonesia is one of the big producer of the mariculture in the future. And this thing is already considered by the European countries and also in Latin American countries, because when we have a meeting with the countries and we saw the map of Indonesian from Aceh, from Sabang to Papua, they're very amazed about what we have. So if we can develop the infrastructure such as road and then electricity and also for the flight, I think we can develop the mariculture very fast in the future, because mariculture need to be connecting between the hatchery and also for the grow-out production in the marine area. So yeah, we have the good potential, but we still have work hard to reach that target. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Rafiq. Do you think that our industry has are ready to this mariculture? Because it needs a lot of capital, right? For
for example, one of I have met with one my lecturer, university lecturer in Singapore, and after I saw the future of our Indonesian aquaculture, he wants to invest in Bali and to produce the hatchery, and also after that they develop the cage area in Nusa Tenggara and also in Nusa Tenggara Barat and also Nusa Tenggara Timur, that still have a potential to develop the aquaculture or mariculture in that area. But the challenge of that the both area is about the transportation, especially for airplane and also for the freight, because if we can solve that problem and connecting that area with the market also, it will be have potential for the government income and also for the circulation income in that area. And because why he choose Bali, because Bali, if a part of his potential area in the Jembrana and also in the Buleleng, Bali already have the big airport in Ngurah Rai, and also the government want to develop the new airport in, I think, in the Singaraja or Buleleng. After that, they will the combination of that, it will increase the production of mariculture in Bali, also in East Indonesia. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Rafiq. And the next question will be for Pak Anwar Rizal. Okay, Pak Anwar Rizal.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, can you please Could you please answer the question?
Yes, for the first question.
Thank you.
Well, for the possibility, it's depend on the platform location. Because for offshore platform that located at the border of the strategic area, we recommended to convert as a military base or to protect our marine territory. However, most of our platform located in the inside of Indonesia water. So except the offshore platform that located in Natuna, but we need to discuss with the coordinating Ministry of Maritime and Investment and also our military. And it's very possible to convert the offshore platform for the other utilities, and it's back to our willingness to do that. And yeah, we still work hard to realize to the pilot project with the coordinating Ministry of Maritime and Investment and other ministry such as from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources and Ministry of Environment and Ministry of Finance and other ministry that connected to this project. And for the third question, can I see the question for the third question? Okay, is there any sanction or penalty or fine if one will do not decommissioning their offshore and oil and gas? I think this question should be addressed to Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources or SKK Migas that can answer this question. So maybe the speaker from SKK Migas can explain for that question. Thank you.
Pak Gede Arya, would you answer the question, or are you still in this seminar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I show the
question, please?
Sorry. Okay, for the sanction or penalty or fine. So we have our PSG term. The PSG stated that all the activity of the ASR need to be performed. So that's why on the PSG also control about how the ASR fund was reserved. If there's already state on the PSG, it's like the agreement between the SKK and the PSG contractor. So PSG contractor shall be perform the activity of the decommissioning or the ISR. So that was because if they not do the activity, because also the fund is already done. This is for the new PSC, the 1994. So all the thing is already set up on the PSC term, on our PSC. But of course, there's some challenge for the older PSC that the asset fund was not yet reserved. So yes, of course, the sanction is based on the what wrote on our PSC. PSC is the production contract, production sharing contract between the SKK Migas and the operators. I think that's Bu Niken.
Thank you, Pak Gede Arya. And we still have more questions, but our time is limited. So finally, we arrive at the end of this seminar. We would like to thank all the speakers and the participants who attend this seminar. And we hope this seminar will enlighten us the new approach regarding the model of the utilization of abandoned offshore platform into artificial reefs, and also for the aquaculture facilities as the core of economic development of coastal communities, and also for sustainable management of resources together. So we think that this seminar will offer opportunities to emergence of new forms of collaboration between various sectors, research community, stakeholders, and the private sector in developing Indonesia's marine economy going forward. So thank you for all the speakers and the participants, and we will send you the e-certificate, but first take your time to fill the attendance list and fill the form of e-certificate. Thank you, and we hope to see you all for the next seminar. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bu Niken.